This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
Hello, this is the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, and you can't tell, but right now I'm dressed as Deacon and not the Fallen Angel because I'm at Waterworld, and you are listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast because there's degrees. There's a little bit busted open, but this is Busted Wide Open. You're listening to us, so thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast. But if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 228. Finally able to sip on the nectar of the gods once again. That is the great Powerade. Yeah! My name is Nick Howell.
Wow, and so excited about this show. I'm shaking like John Moxley when he talks about violence. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome back to the show, everybody. We are Busted Wide Open. We talk about the pro wrestlings here, and we have much pro wrestling to talk about. We've got AEW getting ready to go home to Double or Nothing. We've got NXT this week with some interesting developments, and we had Friday night Smackdown with the fallout from Money in the Bank. So we have a lot to discuss this week, Nick, so I don't want to hold you up. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping, and we can get in to all the good stuff.
Yes, as always, guys, come over and join us on Facebook. And hey, by the way, I never say this enough. You can find all of this stuff over at bwopodcast.com. We've got a special link there, so forget everything I'm about to say and just go to bwopodcast.com. But hey, join us in Facebook with the rest of the phenomenal ones. Just search for Busted Wide Open. You can like our page, send us a join request to get into the group. Lots of fun times, good news articles, and fun memes over there. You can also find links to our Discord in the description below here on YouTube or pinned across our social media profiles. That is where all the action happens throughout the week. Live chats for every show as they happen every single week, all week long. Make sure you get into the Discord. It is the place to be. You can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. We stream live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, as well as doing our patron mailbag AMA show, Q&A listener question thing. It's a special AMA show we do every Saturday after this show, after our main show.
The mailbag episode. It's a mailbag
episode. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's
overcomplicated.
It's a show. It's fine.
It's a show.
It's more content for all of you. We also stream that live right here at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you're subscribed here to the channel and got your little notifications bell turned on so that you get heads ups and notified whenever we go live. And last but certainly not least, thank you to all of our lovely patrons for all of your support, our phenomenal ones. If you guys would like to get in on some of those exclusive rewards, you can get things like show notes, the ability to ask questions for said mailbag episode on Saturdays, bonus episodes at the $10 tier, Skype calls, produce your own segments, all kinds of good stuff over at patreon.com/BWO. It is the best way to support the show. Ian, we have an absolutely packed show today. Let's not waste any more time and kick things off with All Elite Wrestling.
Mr. Brody. Brody Lee walked away with John Moxley's AEW championship belt last week. Mr. Brody. Every time I hear that, I think of Last Crusade. Mr. Brody, sir. Can't help it. Got lost in his own museum.
Yes.
He is the leader of the Dark Order, but for some reason he decides to do everything himself. And this week he had a match against Christopher Daniels. And as you might guess, Jon Moxley not happy about having his belt taken. And like a kid whose action figure was taken on the playground, he came storming into the building looking for his property. And so after the Christopher Daniel match, Jon Moxley showed up. But the thing I want to talk about, Nick, is the fact that Brody I'm not going to say he struggled with Chris Daniels. He put him down. But it was a competitive match.
Shouldn't he be squashing him, though?
That's kind of where I was going with this, is if you're going to be the leader of this whole faction and you're going to be challenging for the championship, if you want to make us believe that you're a match for Jon Moxley, a guy who beat Chris Jericho, who has beaten Kenny Omega clean, Tanahashi, I mean, I know it's not AEW, kayfabe, clean. But he beat Tanahashi. He's beaten people. No, he beat Tanahashi clean.
Oh, he did.
They let him tap out Tanahashi.
That's right.
So, if we're looking at rankings here, I mean, that's one thing I got to get to WWE is that when they get a top guy, they make him look like Brock, unbeatable. Drew McIntyre right now looks unbeatable. He's kicking out at 1 off of people's moves. So I'm looking at that and going, all right, if you want to build a strong dude, that's how you do it. This is not it. This doesn't make me think Mr. Brody is that intimidating. And when you're going up against a guy like Moxley, who has been made to look intimidating, they maybe should have made him look more intimidating here. So that's kind of what I want to talk about with this is, the segment went as you'd expect. Brody ends up beating Christopher Daniels. There's a brawl. All the creepers from New Order start beating up SCU and Colt Cabana. Moxley comes in. He gets beat down. He beats him up. Let's see. No, Brody throws a creeper at Moxley and runs away. And then Moxley cuts a promo to end the show. The beatdown was last week. So Mr. Brody runs away. So we've got him having to work to beat Chris Daniels, who is, as AEW's established him at least, like a mid-carder, a guy who's been putting people over. And then he runs away from Jon Moxley and sort of sacrifices all his goons, which, fine, it's kind of what a heel leader would do, sacrifice your guys and run away. But, Nick, for the last couple of weeks, there's something that you've been saying is that they need to make Mr. Brody the final boss of the Dark Order. You got to go through everyone else to get to him. And it was kind of revealed this week that Stu Grayson and Evil Uno are not around. They can't get him possibly because of what's going on right now with the quarantine.
Right. And I want to be sensitive to that and understanding of that with my judgment here.
And I have been too. That's why I've been giving them a lot of rope.
Yeah.
But this week for me was when it finally it was holding on to that little ski rope and it went flying up that ramp and went right over that shark. And I was just like, no. You've got a week now to make me believe that Mr. Brody should be in a match with Jon Moxley. And now you're in a bad position. Because if Moxley wins, it totally puts us back where we were with the Dark Order before Brody came along, which was their joke.
And Moxley's going to win, make no mistake. There's no way Moxley doesn't win.
If he doesn't win, it undercuts Moxley now. Because you're like, This guy beat him? This guy? Really? So it's unfortunate. I feel like they've booked themselves into a bad situation with this feud. Do you feel like that way now too? Did this underline that for you, or was it? I feel
like this entire giant football has been fumbled multiple times, and like I said, I want to be sensitive to the fact that Stu Grayson and Evil Uno have not been able to be around, but at the same time, you've got enough guys around that can be creepers. They can just absolutely overwhelm one or two people, and Brody Lee can just stand there and, doing just kind of rocking back and forth. Frankly, an old Bray Wyatt where he's not putting hands on anybody.
Yeah.
He's
no one
orchestrating the whole thing, right?
People come close to putting hands on him, and he has his people come in. You nailed it on the head, the Bray Wyatt thing, like the mastermind.
Yep.
And the fact that they're having him get involved, and then it's almost also like, when his guys get involved as well, he's got 10 minions and they kind of aren't effective.
Yeah.
They're not kind of not effective. They're just not effective. The perception is they're not effective, I guess.
This is, I think, the Vince McMahon parody trope, whatever you want to call it, that they tried to start off with. It was all downhill from there. And I think they should have. I think the opening promo segment, the video package of him in the smoky, overlit hallway walking out almost in silhouette and revealing in the light who he was, I think that was mwah. I was like, yes! Oh, they're doing it. He's going to be a godlike figure. Yeah, okay, yes, I'm in. And then since then, he's been like in a suit, eating a steak, doing Vince McMahon. But the last couple of weeks especially, we've just seen him in the ring a lot. And that's kind of the exact opposite of what yes, eventually we need to see him wrestle, but not immediately.
Well, and I don't mind him coming out for squashes as long as other things are going on the Dark Order underneath him. And that's one thing we talked about where we're like, give him leeway. They don't have a lot of guys to work with, or, they may be a little bit handicapped on that. But the problem is at a certain point, there's got to be an establishment that this guy's a cult leader for a reason. Otherwise it's him, and there's, instead of being about him having this sway over people, it's almost like just a guy with his hired thugs. There's no mystique to it.
Nope.
And that mystique is kind of gone. And for they've done a great job with the design of the Dark Order. The weird like Cthulhu octopus symbol, and they were doing a good job with some of the symbology of it, but they lost that somewhere. And as you said, like, it became more of a Vince McMahon parody, which I think was fine in theory, but in execution and in concept, I don't think that it was appropriate for what they had been building with Dark Order.
It's a little too much inside baseball. It's a little too smarky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because we had, for a while there, Nick, we had two cults in AEW. We had Nightmare Collective and we had Dark Order.
Right.
And both of them were like teasing mystical aspects, right? Like there being something supernatural about them.
Right.
And then Nightmare Collective turned out to not be supernatural. It was just Brandy being weird. And then that just fell apart. And then now Dark Order has said, no, we're not supernatural. And now that's falling apart. So I'm not saying it's because of that. They bungled the fact that the way that it's realistic as well. That it's non-supernatural. But
maybe you're finding your Achilles heel is supernatural factions AEW. Maybe don't try to do anymore.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't think that's what it is either, Nick. I think this was other reasons. It was not the supernatural aspect. They should have stuck to that. But anyway.
Well, what are those reasons in your opinion?
The reasons that they didn't stick with the supernatural?
Oh no, you said I said maybe they shouldn't do supernatural factions. You said they failed for other reasons. What are those other reasons?
Well, in this case, they didn't build up Brody Lee properly. They're not keeping him the final boss of Dark Order. They're having him
they're doing a better job with Lance Archer for that matter. They're doing exactly what they should be doing with Brody Lee with Lance Archer.
And you took my transition out of my mouth because I was going to say, on the other hand of things, we started off the show with a really good build, a way to build up a new talent as something that is really special, and that's Lance Archer. And Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts came out to the ring. Lance Archer comes out the gate beating up a guy, which is, I'm sorry,
fantastic.
That never gets old for me, is Lance Archer just randomly beating up people.
Yeah. His lap around the ring as he just takes somebody out.
Yelling at people. Something that always sticks in my mind was Stone Cold in an interview one time talking about how when he used to come out to the ring, he says, it always makes you look cooler if you come out to the ring just jaw-jacking.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're saying, as long as you're out there, rah, 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 and you'll notice Stone Cold always came out to the ring, rah, 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 jaw-jacking, talking to himself, talking to the crowd.
Yep.
It's interesting. It makes you wonder what he's doing. It engages you. Lance Archer doesn't jaw-jack, but him coming out, he's walking in these really big, wide paces. He's beating people up. You never know who he's going to beat up. He's screaming. Usually it's just him going, everybody dies, but it's engaging immediately. You immediately go, who the hell is this guy? It's the same theory. And also you've got Jake the Snake, who's going to come into the ring and address the fact that he put the snake on Brandy last week and say, she asked me for an apology. Well, she can have an apology when she kisses my ass. And Jake went on Jake went on to say that women, in his opinion, are good for cooking, wiping baby butts, and keeping him warm from time to time in cold weather.
Jake, it's not
Oh,
1992
Jake.
anymore, brother.
Oh, Jake. No, that's some heel heat, Nick. That is just mwah. Every single woman in the crowd and probably a lot of other people as well were just like, you son of a bitch.
You're right.
At that. Oh,
I was going, yeah, no, not anymore, Jake. We can't say that stuff.
Oh, yeah, he can say it. If he's trying to get people mad at him.
Yeah.
Mission
accomplished.
Mission accomplished. That's good heel heat. That's doubling down on your heel actions right there. And, of course, that's going to translate over to Lance Archer. So Jake then starts talking about Cody. No, we're not going to – you can't run away anymore. We've got you at Double or Nothing. Like, you can't hide. Then he's interrupted by some sort of revving that's going on. Cut to Cody in his nightmare family. Well, he's got his neck tattoo on the hood of the car and his big old four-door F-150, revving the engine, taped fists, and he peels out, sort of, and he drives it forward about 20 feet and kind of lightly taps a barricade over and then gets out of the truck. Gets out of the truck and then starts stalking towards the ring. Lance Archer comes to meet him, and then they have a nice little brawl. Eventually, they're separated in the ring, and Jake pulls Lance away. We're not getting paid for this. Let's do this at Double or Nothing. And that was a segment. Cody standing tall in the ring, looking strong. What did you think about this whole segment here, Nick?
Unnecessarily wasted opportunity.
Oh, really?
We all remember the times that any sort of vehicle comes racing out from under the Tron down the ramp to the ring in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a garbage truck, an ambulance in an ambulance match, Stone Cold in the beer truck, or Kurt in the milk truck. Those are fantastic. I think this was a missed opportunity to find a way for him to actually drive into the arena, come slamming on brakes, skidding tires and everything, jump out of the truck, and pause and just have that moment where the cameras lock onto him, almost like he's Batman and he's arrived to take out the evil villain. And they made again. Was this a mockery of old WWE again?
Oh, I don't think it was a mockery. I don't think it was a mockery. I think they're trying to create an exciting moment. I think they were trying to have. I think that it was a well-intentioned, exciting moment. Cody's not going to take it anymore, so he's going to, drive into the ring and then
sit
jump
outside
out
and rev his engine for 5 minutes while Jake's
I
trying to
didn't
talk?
say that it was well executed, Nick. I just said that it was well-intentioned. And here's the thing. I think that also, like, once they got into a brawl, I thought that, okay, they're whetting our appetite for their violence at the show. Overall, this segment I thought was really good, between Jake just getting some nuclear heat, or not nuclear, then at least like a whole bunch of dynamite.
Yeah.
And
a lot of PC heat.
Oh yeah. Woo. Spicy. And then also the idea of Cody not being able to take what they did to his wife, not being able to take it anymore, and angrily interrupting their promo and then getting into a fight. That all was good. The visual of Cody revving the engine was good. The visual of him knocking over the gate, not so much. Had he come blasting in there, had he actually driven the thing and run it into the ring or something, like, had there been more violence with the truck, then it might have had more of an impact. But it was a little wimpy the way that it just kind of went dink, that undercut it. But that's a minor complaint. And as I said, dude, overall, this was a good segment. It accomplished what they were trying to do with it, which was make more excitement for their match, right? Make more heat for their match. Moxley and Brody, wet fart, did not do that.
Yep. Agreed.
So from that metric, I think this was a lot better.
I've been excited about Lance and Cody since they showed up and Jake started cutting promos on him, and they've brilliantly layered this TNT Championship tournament right underneath that umbrella just to use that as a staging ground to ultimately land on it. Brilliantly executed the way that was all put together. This fell completely flat for me.
Really?
Yeah. The whole truck thing was just unnecessary. And it's like what I thought of. I laughed out loud. I literally laughed out loud because he was sitting there just when you're sitting there at the stoplight, you're getting ready to go, and you let the clutch out, and you just stall the truck. That's it. That's the equivalent of what this was for me. He stalled the truck. He can't drive a stick. So, and then it still comes running in. So why not just walk in and run in, taking your shirt off? Same exact thing. I'm tired of listening to you. I'm going to get my hands. All of this was just completely unnecessary and a wasted opportunity to actually do it properly at some point in the future when they could. So that's my take on it. Am I excited about Lance and Cody? Hell yes.
Did this diminish your did this diminish your excitement for it?
No, it was just
okay.
the like you said, execution of the thing that they were trying to do to ramp us all up made me laugh.
It just left a sour taste
miserably. Yeah.
All right. Well, overall, I think it was a success, and I think you do too. Obviously, you must as well.
Oh yeah.
Also a success, the fact that we had a women's fatal 4-way match to determine the number one contender for the women's championship, Nyla Rose's women's championship. Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker and Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford all hop in the ring. And Nick, I was a little bit surprised, not by the outcome, but by how we got there, because we ended up with Hikaru Shida pinning Penelope Ford, which in and of itself is not shocking. But she pinned her because she was having in the meantime, you had Britt Baker giving a mandible claw, whatever she's calling it.
The lockjaw.
Lockjaw, thank you. To Chris Statlander outside the ring.
It was very nice of her to also put a latex glove on before she did.
Well, that was very considerate. She is a professional.
She is a doctor.
She is actually a dentist.
Yes.
She's an accredited dentist, so she obviously knows about oral hygiene.
Right.
But the thing that was strange here, Nick, is that, and this was actually a pretty fun match, but it was strange because Britt has history with Shida. Shida broke her nose. So why wasn't Britt going for Shida? Why did she get into a thing where she was trying to boop Statlander and have a connection with her and then get mad when Statlander wasn't responding and then end up getting distracted? That seems strange. Do you know what I'm saying?
A little bit, but I wasn't mad at this because I can remember myself 2 to 3 months ago going, God, how are they going to save this women's division? And they have.
You feel like they've come back.
It's come around. Yep. This match I thought was what I've been waiting for. Fatal 4-way to determine the number one contender. You guys have heard me say it a million times, how to set these things up. And now I feel like I know that Hikaru Shida has earned her spot to go get Nyla Rose. It feels justified, right? And on top of that, we're going to have a spinoff match with Britt Baker and Chris Statlander. We're going to have more action coming on, Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. We got some action there, literally. Just there's all of the stuff that's circling these 5 to 7 ladies in the women's division now. I'm on board with. Like, I can get behind all of this.
Yeah, apparently Dog Ziggler is excited about it as well.
Absolutely.
Sir, I know you really want to see Nyla Rose get defeated, but now is not the time to make your opinions felt.
I think he's asking where Yuka Sakazaki? Yuka Sakazaki is actually in this whole thing.
You somehow got Uemura in there. He's a young lion still. Yeah, no. Come on, man. All right, so no, Shida is your challenger.
Japanese names trip me up. I'm sorry.
Apparently. Oh my goodness. Penelope. Yeah, I think Penelope Ford is definitely going to be someone who's in the division, but mostly with Kip Sabian. That being, her entrance always makes me cringe. Every time she does that jumping split, I'm always like, oh God, I hope your crotch is made of iron because ow.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ow.
Well, hey, if Big E can do it, Penelope Ford can do it.
Big E is not getting 5 feet in the air before doing the splits and coming right down on the middle.
All right, fine.
It's ow. Damn. Hikaru Shida is your number one contender, and she was giving an interview backstage. And in the middle of being interviewed, up came Nyla and was like, oh, no, hold on, don't. It's okay. I just found something that you lost. And she pulls out a kendo stick from behind her back and whacks Hikaru Shida on the head with it. And goes, I found your stick, bitch. And mugs to the camera and walks away. Did you? I cracked up at this. Did you crack up at this too?
Well,
And
I saw her holding it back there. It was very.
We all saw her holding
right.
it back there, but like I didn't expect her to bonk her on the head. It was like around the holidays where you get like the wrapping paper and you have like the inside with the cardboard tube on the inside, and you go and like whack a family member with it upside the head, and they're like, "Ow!" It looked like that.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious.
It was awesome. I love
it. And she'd have just dropped. It was cartoony.
It was like she'd been shot in the face with a shotgun, just burn.
And then Nyla turning mugging to the camera. It was funny. It was a fun moment. I'm looking forward to the two of them having a match. So yeah, good stuff there in the women's division.
Yep.
Also, we had more chaos from Inner Circle and Elite. Omega and Damascus, Broken Matt Hardy, had a match with Santana and Ortiz. A little follow-up to last week's madness in their no-holds-barred street fight. Also a fun match. Also a very fun match. I enjoyed it a lot. Omega and Damascus go over, and I'm not surprised about that. They needed a little get back after last week, keep it even. But the real news was Chris Jericho having a match with Pineapple Pete, Shug D, who he even got like a little promo segment where he said, like, I've been doing this for 16 years, and I'm finally getting a shot. And he did. He got a shot.
Because
got
Jericho
destroyed.
said my name on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes.
He's like, he was like, man, when he first called me Pineapple Pete, I was not happy about it, but now life's pretty good. Yeah, when Jericho gives you a gimmick, you run with it.
Right.
And it's worked for him. That being said, Jericho did destroy him pretty quickly in this match because Jericho had bigger business to get to. And that is the fact that he is proposing I'm trying to remember exactly how he put it. He's proposing a match for Double or Nothing for them versus
the Elite.
The Elite.
Yeah.
A stadium stampede, Nick. A stadium stampede.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either, but I'm intrigued. Looking at how entertaining last week, because he said, if you thought last week was insane, wait till the stadium stampede. You got my damn attention. Because last week was incredibly fun.
Inner Circle versus
Elite
Bucks,
in a
Omega
stampede
and Broken Matt Hardy. Sold.
In a stadium.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. But he wasn't done there because he also introduced us to the sixth member of the Inner Circle. Damascus came down with the Inner Circle flag. Or not Damascus, excuse me. Vanguard 1, Damascus's drone, came down. And Chris Jericho said, oh, you're here to perhaps make peace. And Vanguard 1's like, we accept your terms of the match. And Chris says, oh, okay, well, just so you know, our offer of you joining the Inner Circle has been rescinded. We have a sixth member, and his name is Floyd. He's this baseball bat, and he proceeds to whack Vanguard 1 out of the sky and beat him into the ground. Pieces of Vanguard 1 everywhere. Chris Jericho killed Vanguard 1.
I literally get out of, by God!
Oh, God! He's killed him.
That drone has a family.
The entire Inner Circle like stomping on him. Out comes Broken Matt Hardy and cradling the remains of his drone in tears. You know, there have been a lot of like tragic, companion deaths over the years.
Yeah.
In wrestling, Nick, I've talked about it a lot. How as a child there was as a formative experience. Damien, Jake the Snake, getting killed by Earthquake when Earthquake sat on Jake Snake, which pause. That was a traumatic experience. You've had Pepper, Al Snow's dog, get killed by Big Boss Man. Moppy, Raven killed Moppy. We recently had Rowan's spider, his mechanical spider, get killed by Drew McIntyre. Pepe the horse was killed by Norman Smiley.
Oh.
Chavo's remember his little hobby horse?
Yes.
Thrown in the wood chipper?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Do you know who's done the most killing of little buddies? Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho. Not only Vanguard, he's also killed Francesca the Trombone and Mitch the Plant.
That's right. I forgot it. Oh my God. I forgot about Mitch the Houseplant.
Chris Jericho is now like, that's part of his gimmick, is if you have like a little side character, he'll kill him.
I love it.
So keep them away from Chris Jericho.
I love how the drone was barely able to fly because it was whipping around with the T-shirt. And the fact that they can bring Vanguard 1 into Daly's place because it is an open roof,
right.
It's an open facility like that. It really just amps things up. So I mean, AEW they've gotten lucky with a few things, but they've been really smart about how they're putting on their shows with having people. There were even more people, like backstage crew people in the audience, up in the seats behind where there were performers behind the barricades, right?
It got like it's honestly something that is a marked difference between this and WWE.
Yeah.
WWE, you have a ton, like screen-filling amount of graphics and lasers, like on entrance, like it's just in lights. It's so bright and garish and crazy, and there's things happening, and it's very visually like arresting. They're not visually arresting with AEW, but it sounds great. There's a reaction when Jake had his speech, people are, oh, boo! Yeah. You could hear people reacting to it. And even though it's not a whole lot of people, it is just a huge difference from silence.
Yep.
So
Deafening
presentation wise, I think that's a big edge.
Yep.
Right there. I also have to say I'm liking the fact that in these 3 major feuds, you've got very different feels. 4, let's say 4. Let's include the women's division. The 4 major feuds here, the 4, top things that we're talking about here, very different feelings. Moxley and Mr. Brody, where it's, a strong, vengeful champ who's had his property stolen by this nefarious underworld overlord. You've got Lance Archer and Cody, which feels very personal now that Brandy's gotten involved. You've got the women's division, where it's, just about who's cool, who's a badass, who can take on this monster. And then you've got this insanity that's going on with these guys right here, with Elite versus Inner Circle, where it's just chaotic madness.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. You're getting a whole bunch of different feelings. Everything feels different. I didn't feel bored. There was always something new.
And I don't remember if you mentioned the women's division stuff, but that's happening as well. Oh, you did.
No, I did.
I think I'm most pleased with how they're doing long-term storytelling in 2 or 3 different ways, and you're sort of rebuilding a whole division from scratch successfully this time, 6+ months into it. You tried a bunch of stuff. You failed fast. You guys remember me talking about that earlier this year towards the turn of the year. But I'm very happy to see them. In 3 months, they've turned the ship around on the women's division. I think that's the thing I'm the most happy about. But looking at all of the stuff that's happening around Cody and MJF and Chris Jericho and just all of this stuff that's all sort of intermixing and orbiting, man, they are just absolutely weaving everything together brilliantly.
It's
like watching a brilliant symphony just kind of play itself.
And it's also why I'm not too worried about the Brody Lee thing, because they've shown they're really good at fixing mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they right the ship on that as well. Real quick shout out to Jay over in the super chat, $5. Thank you very much. Just dropping some love in the form of a tip. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
And some love back to you, my man. Thank you. They're also doing other things, Nick, in AEW. It's not just the top of the card. The tag team division is kind of fun right now too. Best Friends have been on a roll. They had a match with Jurassic Express this week, which also was just a bunch of different storylines got involved in this. Chaos. MJF and Jungle Boy have a match coming up. So MJF, of course, got involved in this and beat the crap out of Jungle Boy, which cost him the match. Ended up getting an absolutely nasty, awful waffle from Chucky T to finish the match. Marco Stunt also got ragdolled by Wardlow after the match. And we found out that MJF, as a way to build himself up for Jungle Boy to get himself prepared, is going to take out Marco Stunt next week in a match. So that was part of it. And also during this, as Orange Cassidy was ready to jump in and help the Best Friends, we had probably the sickest move of the week when Phoenix comes out of nowhere and jump kicks Orange Cassidy's freaking head off.
Fatality.
Some say his sunglasses are still flying through the stratosphere.
Right.
That was absolutely lethal. Murdered Orange Cassidy. So now we've got some beef between, remember Death Triangle's out there. Death Triangle's
Pac
out there.
Stuck over in the UK, or is
I would imagine so.
All right.
I would imagine so, and I don't know about Pentagon, but we've seen Phoenix. We've seen
Pentagon on TV too in the last couple of months. Have we not?
I'm trying to remember when, and I don't know if we have.
Yeah, I can't remember when. Okay. Either way, this was fantastic.
They started lining up people though for the kickoff show, And Phoenix is in the opening ladder match too, so we know he's gonna be back. But
so MJF has a match with Jungle Boy, and then next week he's gonna fight Marco Stunt, and then we've got Phoenix and Orange Cassidy are gonna have a match.
And possibly it's not coming right up, but we know that Death Triangle has issues with Best Friends. Best Friends are now in line to become #1 contenders for Omega and Hangman's titles, which Hangman's been out in the woods getting drunk, so we don't know, when we're going to see them back in action again.
And we had a little standoff with Luchasaurus and Wardlow, and I think I'm wondering where that's going to go, because I don't know if you guys can see the drool that I'm wiping from the side of my mouth.
Yeah.
But that is, yes.
Give me those big boys. Give me those big boys fighting. Yes. We do know that we're going to have a Private Party versus Best Friends on the Double or Nothing pre-show to determine who's getting that title shot. So that's where it comes to head. And I'm wondering if something else, what's a twist? Something else happens right there to create more. So yeah, the tag team division, they even had a little promo package saying we wanted to create the best tag team division in wrestling.
Congratulations.
I don't know if I'm ready to give them that yet, Nick. I don't know if I am.
I am.
But it's pretty damn good.
I am.
We're having a lot of fun here. And again, just chaos, lots of stuff going on, keeping things very, very
We had one tag match, and they booked 6 matches off of it. Where else can you do that?
Well, you also had another match this week on the show, MJF versus Lee Johnson, the guy who's lost. He's been like the jobber du jour the last few weeks. MJF comes in, beats Lee Johnson. That's when he challenges Marco Stunt. But, one thing I was thinking, Nick, is that sometimes people criticize MJF for not having a whole lot of in-ring talent. Do you feel like this match, even though it was a squash, do you feel like this is going to bring people around watching him work here?
To MJF or Jungle Boy?
MJF. I don't think anyone's criticizing Jungle Boy for that.
If people are criticizing MJF for his in-ring ability, then they're not paying enough attention. I'm not sitting here caring too much. The Rock wasn't the best in-ring worker, but by God, you put a microphone in his hand. Jesus. So MJF he's going to be MJF. And where I care about MJF is not really in the ring. It's going to involve Wardlow. It's going to involve shitty, cheating heel stuff, chicken shit kind of heel stuff, and it's fantastic. And that's exactly what I want out of MJF. And there's nobody doing it as good as he is right now. Wearing neck braces because he nicked himself shaving.
Yeah.
Just keep doing all that.
A guy who can talk butts into seats.
Yes.
You don't have to go out there and be Daniel Bryan in the ring. You can talk butts into seats. It's something that I think the Miz has kind of created much of his career off of, is instead of going out there and working dangerously or, doing a lot of matches, getting injured a lot, you go out there and just run your mouth, talk butts into seats.
Yep.
So, and that's
tell me a story.
You'll have a long career that way.
Yep.
So he's got the mouth that can save his body. So a couple more last things here on AEW. Darby Allin, again, being interviewed by Taz. Taz, again, being like, yeah, I know I've said I wasn't going to talk about how you lost to Cody, but you lost to Cody. And if you'd done this, you might have actually not lost to him. And then Darby, of course, just kind of pouting again. Taz, I came in 3rd in wrestling in Idaho. And then walks away. So, Nick, I kind of feel the same way I did last week, where I'm intrigued by Darby and Taz, but I feel like their presentation here is making them both look bad. How do you feel about this? I think
Taz should stick to doing the move breakdown videos and the commentary work that he does on Dark from time to time. And I love Taz. Taz has a very unique talent to do a particular thing very well. I don't think this is it.
Really?
Yeah.
So the idea of Taz being in Darby's corner, like the way that, like last week we were talking about how you've got a lot of older legendary talent, maybe whatever you want to call them, in people's corners right now in AEW. You don't think that Taz in Darby's corner would be a good idea?
I think Darby's a bad pairing for Taz.
Interesting.
And frankly, I like Taz for what he really excels at, and I don't know if I want to see him as a talent manager or as a ringside advocate or coach, whatever label you want to place upon him for this role that he's portraying, because we haven't seen, you rarely see Arn Anderson. You just see him from time to time alongside Cody. What's the benefit? Is he just supposed to be a foil for Jake at some point?
I don't know, but I think that it's something where Darby's fine on the mic, but you have Taz come out and cut promos for him. Taz is good on the mic. And also what Taz is bringing an air of legitimacy to Darby, because Taz was known for being a dude who could actually beat you up.
Agreed.
Tough guy.
If we got the old Taz, like the crazy out in the singlet doing hardcore stuff.
No, because you don't have. Well, yeah, but you don't have Jake or Arn Anderson coming. You have Arn Anderson coming out and doing a spine buster every once in a while. You have Jake come out and bring the snake every once in a while. You have Taz come out and just be gruff and think he's more of a badass than he actually is, but actually is a badass anyway. You have that, and honestly, Taz was a guy who was considered too little in his day, and that's what Darby's dealing with as well. So if you're looking at guys who have, kind of similar attitudes, I think in theory it could work. It's just right now I don't think the writing is living up to it, because it's making Darby look petulant and it's making Taz look like a dick.
Do you think they're doing
the idea?
Do you think they're doing it because we haven't had a lot of mic time for Darby Allin? We haven't seen him cut big promos. Do you think, and the little bit that we've seen, it's like you said, it makes him look a little wimpy, a little petulant, right? Is this a mouthpiece for Darby because we don't think he can do well at it?
Maybe. Lance Archer's fine on the mic, but they still gave him Jake the Snake.
All right. I feel like we could go round and round about this one.
We could.
I don't know. I'm not sold yet on the Taz Darby pairing. I'm not mad at it, but I'm not sold that it'll be beneficial for either one of them, frankly.
Fair enough. One thing I think will be beneficial is the fact that refereeing the Cody Lance Archer match at
Oh no, we lost Ian again. Come back. Skype, why you do this for? Oh boy. Okay. We're reconnecting. Give us 1 second here, guys. This has been an issue we lost you again. Are you back now? Oh, I can see you again. You're back. All right. So you said refereeing was where we dropped off.
Aha. Refereeing the Double or Nothing match between Cody and Lance Archer. Mike Tyson. Iron Mike Tyson. What? Mike Tyson.
And they kind of just nonchalantly go, the Iron Mike Tyson.
They announced it. They threw it out there. Mike Tyson. Shades of Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been watching Mike Tyson's latest training videos, but dude is still terrifying.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Dude is still absolute. Or if you watched Ip Man 3. Dude is absolutely goddamn terrifying still. And if y'all are listening to us and you're too young to remember Mike Tyson in his heyday, I grew up in the era of Mike Tyson when he was out there ending fools' careers. He would hit you so hard you retired from boxing. Yes. It was people would crap themselves.
He would uppercut you into retirement.
In the ring. It was his uppercut, that little short, back turning uppercut, is still one of the most terrifying boxing moves I've ever seen in my life. When I was a kid, dude, it was how much money would it take for you to get into the ring with Mike Tyson? Just you 30 seconds with Mike Tyson. And it was like, I don't know, man. You don't come out the same.
You don't get to spend $1 billion when you're just catatonic and a vegetable, know?
Right. That's how hard he was hitting dudes. And he's still terrifying. And he's coming out as the ref, Cody Lance Archer. Does he get involved, Nick?
Absolutely.
Does Mike Tyson get physical in this match?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Do you think he KOs Lance Archer and Cody picks it up?
No.
You just think that at some point someone takes a Mike Tyson uppercut? What do you think's happening
here? Who's big enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson? And is he he's going to throw it, obviously, but it's...
You remember when he punched Shawn Michaels? It was just a whiffer. He obviously didn't want to actually hurt him. You know what I mean? He knows how to not punch somebody.
Well, the lore with the thing with Stone Cold was that they had the warm up before they ever got to the match, right? And then Stone Cold says, "Hey, I'm going to mess with you a little bit," or something like that. And Tyson actually got pissed.
Yeah,
Tyson actually went for him.
And that's Tyson in his prime. That was Tyson in his prime. Like, what are you dude? No.
That was like Holyfield
No.
era Tyson. Jesus Christ.
That was pre-Holyfield. That's pre-biting off his ear.
Oh wow. Jesus.
Yeah, that's like you messing with him. That's worse than Bart Gunn and Butterbean. That's like whoa. Anyway, I'm excited for Mike Tyson, obviously.
If you guys haven't seen that video of him still doing training with his trainer.
Oh.
Holy shit. He still got it. 20 plus years later. He still got it.
He could go in there and beat up young guys now. Like he could if you wanted to. Anyway, I'm excited for him to be the ref.
Xander in the chat is challenging us here, saying that Tyson isn't the ref. He's only presenting the title.
Oh, is he presenting the title?
Okay.
Oh, no, he's right. You're right, Xander. Thank you.
All
Thank you, Xander. You're right.
I had heard something like that.
I got excited. I got excited. You're right. I just actually, it's funny because I had this in my notes earlier. We skipped over it. I put it again in my notes, but I didn't have all the details. Thank you very much, Xander. You were absolutely right. He's just presenting the title. So no physicality from Tyson.
What?
I went down.
Why would you bring in Mike Tyson
hole
if you're not going to have any physicality?
But just to say it's Mike Tyson. Look how excited we got. Even if he's just there, I'm excited. Why would you bring in Bret Hart to present the AEW title in the first place? It's just name recognition.
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to get you excited, Nick. I'm sorry. Xander, you are right to correct me. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
He's
Xander.
just presenting the title. I got worked up. I worked myself.
I want to see Mike Tyson knock the shit out of somebody again. Like, I will go on these runs. There's these hype videos on YouTube of Mike Tyson that are about 10 minutes long of just all his match history and all of his knockouts and all of his training and warm-ups and all that stuff where he rolls around on his neck. Dude had the craziest neck ever. But we've never seen speed. You can go back to Ali, you can go back to Leonard, Frazier, any of them. We've never seen speed, and we likely never will see speed. Even with De La Hoya, even with Pacquiao, we've never seen speed like Tyson, the way he can turn somebody around. And holy smoke. So yeah, am I excited that I'm getting more Mike Tyson?
How many of his matches went over a minute? Like
Not
some
many.
really small percentage. It was like less than 20% went over a
Only
minute.
the big bouts with Buster Douglas and Holyfield, really.
And he was making big money. Like people were paying millions of dollars to see a 30-second
50
match.
seconds, yeah.
Yeah, you're just showing up to watch someone die.
Right.
Anyway,
Isn't that called UFC
digressing.
now?
This is no. They actually they go 5 rounds.
Right. Sometimes.
So we're not here to talk about boxing, Nick. We're here to talk about wrestling, and that means we have to continue the show and head over to NXT.
I'm a very big Mike Tyson fan, in case I didn't just make that clear. All right, let's talk about some NXT. Imperium. Imperium finally got their match. We kicked the show off with Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher coming out to have their title match with Imperium after last week and the week before with the game show breakup and all of the jaw-jacking and the challenges and everything. But there's a different mood and something's off about Timothy Thatcher. And even when they get in the ring, Riddle does his signature kick off his flops, and one of them hits Thatcher right in the face.
That's just like, what the hell are you doing?
If you know Timothy Thatcher, he's not a nice guy. So don't
he's kind of no nonsense.
Yeah, don't hit him in the face with your flops, man. With your slides.
Yeah. Again, he looks like Oni Lorcan hate fucked a werewolf. And again, the word hate's in there for a reason. Timothy Thatcher is an angry man. And this has been kind of what they've built him up as over the last couple of weeks is he's just kind of no nonsense. He doesn't really like Matt Riddle's shtick, but he's respecting Matt Riddle. He respects Pete Dunne, so he's going to stay with it. Well, things came to a head this week because in this match, Matt Riddle getting beaten down, looking for the heat spot, can't make the tag, and accidentally monkey flips, I think it was Marcel Barthel, but it might have been Eichner, into Timothy Thatcher, who was standing on the side of the ring. On the apron, and off Timothy Thatcher goes, onto the ground. He's pissed. Matt Riddle comes back looking for the tag, and Timothy Thatcher walks away, and now it's 2-on-1 handicap match, and sure enough, Riddle tries, but he can't hold up to Imperium, and Imperium takes him out, and they are your new NXT Tag Team Champions. Matt Riddle, not too happy about this, finds Timothy Thatcher in the back and goes, what the hell was that? And Timothy Thatcher sitting there going, I don't like you. I don't like your shtick. You're a goofball. I don't mind being tag champ, but not with an idiot like you. And they get into a little pull-apart brawl. Later on, Matt Riddle asking William Regal for a match against Timothy Thatcher just to settle things. Timothy Thatcher blindsides Matt Riddle with a computer monitor, leaves him lying on the floor. And then the main event, Matt Riddle versus Timothy Thatcher. My goodness, this escalated quickly.
So, yeah, I want to let you finish, but I got something I want to summarize this in a bunch of bullet points that we've all done in basically 90 minutes. You had tag champions that split up and one turned on the other one, and then you booked the match, and then you had the match, and then you cleanly finished the match.
Right.
We're under some extenuating circumstances in the world right now. You got time. You could have drugged this out.
They could have stretched this out for 3 weeks of TV, and we got it all in one show. And I'm not mad at it because I definitely wanted, Nick, what did we say about the cons? Because we said when they first were together, we're like, this is probably going to end up with Thatcher turning on Riddle at some point. I thought he was going to join Imperium again. But
he still might.
He may still. Yeah. He might still. But I thought that we thought this was going to end up that way. And what did we say when we thought about that? Put it in my eye holes. Right. Put that in my eye holes. I want to see Timothy Thatcher versus Matt Riddle. So I'm not mad at getting what I want right now.
But you know what this is? It's Golden Corral. You walk in.
What?
This is Golden Corral. Hear me out. You walk in. You've got the giant buffet. They've got steak.
I'm from
chicken,
California, dude.
Pork, mac and cheese, mashed potato. You got everything. Salads, dessert. It's everything Riddle versus Thatcher. It was everything we wanted.
And
you walk in and you eat it, and this was everything we wanted on a silver platter, and it lasted 8 minutes.
But this is like,
and
well,
I'm like,
okay, but they left
of all the things you had on this show, you couldn't shave off 10 more minutes and give these guys 15 to 20 minutes to. I don't think they're done. I think they might have another match.
This is Golden Corral stuffed into a cannon and shot at you while you're still getting out of your car.
Hometown buffet
in the parking lot.
It's hometown buffet in California.
Fine, hometown buffet. There we go. Hey, this is you getting out of your car and be like, man, I'm sure hungry, and they just throw it at you out the door. Here it is. Oh God! Oh. This is that. It just came at you so quick. It's like, oh, these new tag champs. Now they're they're mad at each other. Now they're having a match. But at the same time, okay, now I got my food. All right, you threw it at me. I'm not mad at it. I was hungry. So yeah, I'm not mad at any of this. You had to get the titles onto a real tag team. Because we'd already seen Matt Riddle with the serious guy. That shtick is, I think, reserved for him and Pete Dunne. And we don't know when Pete Dunne's going to be back because of extenuating circumstances.
I think that's done.
I don't think it's done. Pardon the pun. But I think that's going to come back around, and there may be even story because Thatcher just turned on Pete Dunne by extension too. Like Pete Dunne recommended Thatcher in storyline to Matt Riddle. So I think that's going to come around. There's going to be more work to do there. But also, Matt Riddle and Thatcher's match was what we expected, but it felt to me, like you said, it was 8 minutes. It felt to me like it was whetting the appetite. Yeah. And the finish of it was Timothy Thatcher was out wrestling Matt Riddle, and Matt Riddle did something that cost him his first loss in NXT. He turned a submission move into a pinning predicament. He shifted his weight, came over on Timothy Thatcher so that Timothy Thatcher's own hold was pinning him to the ground, and he got the 3 and escaped. Timothy Thatcher is still working, according to storyline here, I guess, in kind of an MMA sense. He's trying to submit you, and Matt Riddle has learned now this is pro wrestling. You can pin people. And then Timothy Thatcher beat him down afterwards. This is not over. This is just the beginning. Great. I felt like I was hungry for more at the end of this.
I felt like I ate way too fast. I ate way too much. And when somebody asked me, hey, how was dinner? I'm like,
I think it was good.
Yeah, I don't really remember. It was okay, I guess.
Hold on, let me.
I'm not sure.
Let me burp. Maybe I'll taste it. Maybe I'll taste it again.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, that was good.
I definitely want more, and I feel like I was a little bit shortchanged because all the other stuff this was a big show packed into 2 hours for NXT this week.
Kyle in the super chat says $1.99. Thank you, sir. He says this was a guy chugging the beer 30 minutes to last call. It's kind of his last call. Oh,
yeah,
a little bit. It came at you fast. It came at you fast.
Thank you, Kyle.
But I'm not mad at this. Give me Thatcher and Riddle.
I think I wanted to be. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm not even disappointed.
I wanted more out of it. It felt like they were just fast fooding it because they had other shit to get to next week and beyond.
Well, we've got
maybe there's stuff we don't know about yet that they have to get past this for. So that's my hope. That's my skeptically optimistic viewpoint.
A pay-per-view is coming up. We have to get to the build for that.
Yeah.
I feel like we had 1 week of establishing these guys' relationship. We had them show up, 1 week of establishing their relationship, and then the breakup.
Yep.
And now we have a couple of weeks of them building a feud.
Yep.
Great. I actually, aside from this week, I think we'll look back and just be like, it was fine.
Yep.
It's fine. We had to get to the pay-per-view build, and now we're there. So cool. We also now have another build in the process. We did not know who attacked Finn Balor, but now we know he had a match to Cameron. Finn Balor had a match with Cameron Grimes, which I went into thinking I knew everything and I knew what was going to happen. I did not see, after Finn Balor held his own against Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest show up ringside, hit Finn in the leg with his baton, and cost Finn the match.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Grimes pins Finn Balor. Man, if you don't think they've got some plans for Cameron Grimes,
he's basically number one contender right now.
God damn. No, he's not. He's not. But they're putting a lot of wins under his belt, and they're letting him win.
He could legit go
matches.
challenge Keith Lee for the North American Championship right now and be justified in doing so.
Fair enough. I will give you that. Yes. Sorry, I was thinking Adam Cole, but no, you're absolutely like we were talking about who's fighting Keith Lee next, and I think it's going to be someone else, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay. But Cameron Grimes definitely could be on that radar. He's definitely been put over enough. And yes, this wasn't a clean victory. Still a victory over Finn Balor. So that's not nothing. Right. That being said, we got to talk about Damian Priest here. Because you and I both like Damian Priest a lot.
I like the potential of Damian Priest. We're long fans of Punishment Martinez. All of that.
But am I crazy? There's something still missing here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came to ringside and he kind of leisurely he stepped over the barricade, and Finn saw what was happening and jumped him, and Damian was down kind of selling for a bit. And then he pops back up and hits Finn with the baton. It was like the dumbest. Like, if you're going to jump somebody, don't wait until they see you and then slowly like come towards them. I don't know. It's something, it lacks a pop. Yep. It lacked an immediacy. And I think that's something that actually extends to Damian Priest's character overall, is it's lacking some sort of energy and fire.
Yeah, it's missing some of so I want to see a super hybrid of Godfather and Gangrel. Something in there, like Velveteen Dream does this brilliantly. He'll have two beautiful women push him out on the couch. There needs to be something more here around the atmosphere in the presentation of Damian Priest.
Gangrel and the Godfather. Yeah. He's gonna come out. He's gonna come out with some bloody women, some bloody hoes.
Not bloody hoes. Hang on. Time out. Okay. Don't go down that rabbit hole, Mr. Horror fan. No, I'm talking about. I want to see the introduction of a brood of a harem of sorts, just to give it some vampiric kind of mystery, but also a little bit of the kind of cocky pimp stuff, kind of Godfather. Like, give him some swagger. That's the word I'm looking for. He has no swagger. There's nothing to him. That's it. He's got a stick and he comes out and goes,
I would argue that he's got the swagger, but when you're being nonchalant, when you're being like insouciant like this, where you're like, hey, I'm Damian Priest, and I like to party, and it runs the risk of not having energy, right? Like the thing about Velveteen Dream, who's also playing kind of a party boy, is that he's got tons of energy and fire and personality and charisma. And Damian Priest has that, the charisma, like you see him and you're like, who is this guy? But what he doesn't have is that energy underneath it, that underlying current of energy. And that like electricity. When you see him, you don't feel like he could do anything at any time. He's just kind of, you feel like he's just kind of there, right? He doesn't have that pop, and that's something that he needs to have. And I hope that something with if he's going into a feud with Finn Balor, I hope, because he announced, I'm the guy that beat you up. If you wanted that snake in the grass, it's me. Okay, cool. So we're getting Finn versus Damian Priest. I just hope this brings out something good from Damian Priest, because this is, in my opinion, he's punching upwards and Finn is stepping down to meet
Kyle
him
with the super chat says, kind of nailed it, and I agree with him to an extent, not completely, but he's beginning to get Baron Corbin vibes from Damian Priest with now that he has been presented in NXT, just the guy who always is a nuisance but no depth. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. He can be the nuisance guy. He can be the shitty heel that comes out and interrupts. But what I was trying to say before, not so eloquently delivered, was that there needs to be more atmosphere and gravitas to his presence. And that's the thing that, like with Dream, you have that gravitas and atmosphere to his presence. That's what I was getting to. But I think that that's the thing that's missing. When he shows up, nobody cares. And you got to make people care when he shows up.
I think you and I are both saying the same thing, but differently, yeah. Nick. You're looking for the gravitas. I'm looking for the undercurrent of energy. It's a similar thing. There's something deep in his presentation, and it might just be a personal thing. That's just not there.
Thank you, Kyle, for the super chat.
So yeah, he needs to get that energy, or he just needs some bloody hose. Either way. We've also got the cruiserweight interim cruiserweight tournament still going on. This week we had Jake Atlas versus Tony Nese, and Jack Gallagher versus Swerve Scott. And we got some answers to some questions this week, Nick, because Jake Atlas beats Tony Nese. Tony Nese was mathematically eliminated, and he was just going to be, here's a spoiler, but he's out, did not win a single match. And that's a storyline that we're going with, apparently, because Swerve Scott said, man, if I can't win anything, you should just quit. Referring to Jack Gallagher, who was also on the edge of potentially not winning a match. And Tony Nese took exception to that and came out and beat up Swerve Scott before his match. He still was able to have a match with Jack Gallagher, but ultimately succumbed. And now Swerve is eliminated. Jack is eliminated. Tony's eliminated. They're all no longer possibly going to win this tournament. So what did you think about these outcomes here, Nick?
I was a little I liked first of all, can we stop calling Jack Gallagher gentleman? Can we stop saying his old name for his old gimmick with this new? Can we just drop the gentleman thing? Because right now he looks like a sailor in a bar. And I don't know what that is. If there's a, swashbuckling Jack Gallagher or something, just something different. He looks like a pirate right now. That's the vibe I get off of him. Anyway, I'm disappointed that Killshot got eliminated.
It was. I think that they're making it less complicated. So, I thought that they protected him.
They definitely did.
And we now have a feud with Tony Nese ready to go. So I thought that they gave him something to do. Jack Gallagher's coming out of this with nothing to do.
Agreed. So that was.
Whereas Swerve's coming out of this with something to do.
Killshot, I'm disappointed in, but you're right. They protected him. I totally see this going to. I believe I said it was Kushida and Phantasmo. I think was my early predictions that this would come down to.
Correct. And then right now, as it stands right now, in Group B, you've got Tozawa with 2-0 and Ehud Phantasma with 1-1. They have a match next week, and basically the winner of that wins that. That's straight up.
So I think Kushida and Ehud Phantasma is going to be your final for this tournament.
Well, I don't know, because they've built up the other group pretty well now, because you've got Kushida at 2-0, Jake Atlas at 2-1, and Drake Maverick at 1-1. If Drake beats Kushida, we've got 3 2-1s, and that leads to a triple threat.
That's a good point.
If Kushida beats Drake Maverick, then Drake's story is over, and he wins that side of the tournament. So, yeah, there's still. I personally think that if you have one group go to a straight up, whoever wins the final match, it goes on to the finals, and the other group, you've got a 3-way tie. That's an interesting disparity between the two groups. That's an interesting tournament. That's good booking. Whereas you have both sides with a definitive winner, it's a little more boring.
The other thing to throw in here, we did have another episode of 205 Live last night after Smackdown, which was interesting, where we do have Gallagher and Nese building a feud. So am I reading too much into that it's not going to be Killshot? And that Gallagher and Nece are going to go have their feud? Not Nece and Killshot?
I think that was just to settle this, their side of this.
All right.
And then you're going to go have Nece and Swerve on the side. So I think that's going to be something
At least
else.
in NXT? Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. But I feel like Gallagher's left in limbo here, kind of like his gimmick, where he's not really anything. He's a lot of things, but he's kind of nothing right now. He's got a whole bunch of shitty sailor tattoos that look like they were stuck on with Sharpie.
Press on.
And he's wearing like a British military cape. And
but he's still doing the waxed mustache. So I'm
a slightly waxed mustache, and he's got gentlemen on his trunks which have leopard print on them. And he's got red. I don't know what's happening with Jack
Identity
Gallagher
crisis.
right now. That dude, like, I don't know if he got trapped in the States and like only had a couple of different. I don't like some of his gear in the closet was like old gear, and he just like threw something together. I don't know what happened, but it looks like he raided like an indie wrestler's closet. Or like a college theater department's closet to just get his gear. It's weird.
Right.
It's weird. But I love the guy. I want him to do well, and I'm just. We also had a nice little family dinner with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. And yeah, Nick, I'm already there with you. Once again, they're sitting around talking about all things NXT, all the things they did, all the things that they want to do. And everything's smiley and happy until they turn to the camera and everything goes black and white, and like it gets a little like shaky kind of delay effect, and they get really serious, and then the music comes back up and they go back to kind of snarkily shooting on everyone in NXT. Was it just me, Nick, or did this go on for way too long and it reused the whole "we're getting serious now" gimmick to the point where it was a little bit eye rolling?
It's too much. It's being way overdone, way overproduced.
It's a little try hard. Yep. It's a little try hard, isn't it? Like, look what a heel Gargano and Candice are. Look how heelish they are. And I still don't buy Candice with the hair and the lipstick.
It's the thing from Team America. We're guards. Yeah, we're guards. Yeah, we're bad.
Yeah,
we're bad guys. Look how bad we are.
Guys.
Yeah, aren't we so bad? Right. Oh, we're bad. Yeah, we're bad guys.
Right.
Oh God, it's exhausting. And last night in the chat in Discord, we were going back and reminiscing of the days of yore of the 2016 Cruiserweight Championship, and Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano and all of the fights with DIY and Revival and AOP and all, just, oh my God, how good these guys. And now we're doing this. And it just feels so wasted. I appreciate experimentation. I want to be clear about that. I love the idea of trying to do it, but you've been at it for feels like 6 months at this point, trying to flip Johnny over, who spent the last 4 years being the heart of NXT.
That's the problem. Part of that, he went heel for about 6 months, remember?
No, I don't.
If he had a feud with Ricochet, he had a feud with Alistair,
I don't remember that. That's the point.
Alistair got taken out. Well, maybe that is the point. Alistair got taken out, and it turned out to be Johnny Gargano who injured him. And then they had a feud. There was a time when Johnny was heel, and it kind of worked because Tommaso was out. So and then Tommaso came back and he was a face, and then Johnny went face again, and then it was all very weird. But now they're turning back into the Johnny Gargano as a heel ship again, and it's just not connecting this time. At least not to me. Maybe it'll work better once he gets in the ring and stops doing segments like this, because this segment I don't think connected at all. It was, as you said, Nick, overdone. It was too on the nose. It was trying way too hard. He's him just being snarky. Dijak, he thinks he's so big, and then also he turns to the camera. Yeah. Because Keith Lee, when I come for you, I'm going to break your leg. So he's going for Keith Lee. It's looking like we're building up a Johnny Gargano Keith Lee program.
Why not Cameron Grimes? Who's beaten?
Johnny's a little bit higher on the ladder still than Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes has knocked off just about everybody on the way up that ladder. So I'd love to see a Cameron Grimes Johnny Gargano match for the number one contender at the North American Championship. You know?
Kyle in the chat, $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. He says it feels like they are trying to do this Stepford thing with none of the subtlety for it to work. Definitely no subtlety here. Definitely no subtlety. No subtext. Zero subtext in this Johnny and Candace thing. Absolutely zero subtlety, zero subtext. Yeah, it's. I don't know if they need subtlety, but a lighter touch would be nice. Yeah. You're not going to the same trick over and over again, and they're going back to that like the music stopping, the black and white serious talk to the camera a few too many times. Yeah, it's just it's too much.
I miss Raw NXT when it was wrestling. It was almost pure wrestling, and you told stories in the ring. And I feel like they're getting a little bit out of their comfort zone. Maybe it's because of things that are going on. We're trying to do these produced segments that the main roster has an army of people to do for them. That maybe they're trying to film it with their iPhones and put it together themselves in iMovie. And it's kind of just not working, guys.
Well, and again, another thing where I don't think that their concept is wrong, but the execution is just not connecting.
Yeah.
You know, this could work. This could work. It's just not. But I like the idea of Gargano Lee. Give me that. Undisputed Era, we again, like you were saying, video packages, we don't have a whole lot of production. They basically did a 4-way Zoom call. Looked a little bit like the Bubbly Bunch, except, 4-way divided screen. All the members of Undisputed Era showing up and
bro, I miss you, dude. Oh, my God.
I miss you too, bro.
This was awesome.
Bro, how are you, bro?
I smiled the entire time because they were all just like,
bro.
Wait. I hate to keep making Trey Parker and Matt Stone references, but this was like the Baldwin. You know what sucks about being a Baldwin? Nothing. That's what this reminded me of. It was like the Baldwins. Like, hey, oh man, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle, I haven't seen you forever. What have you been up to? Oh man, I've been on a movie. I've been like shooting a big Hollywood movie with like Daniel Day DeVito, and like, yeah, it's been great, bro. Yeah, bro. I think so too, bro. Adam Cole, why are you wearing gamer gear? Because I'm a big gamer, bro. Can't you tell by all my gamer stuff behind me, bro? That's awesome, bro. That's Undisputed, bro. Whoa, that's our catchphrase. That's incredible, man. Yeah, we're totally like Undisputed Era. Bro, it's been 1,000 days since we first showed up and took out Drew McIntyre. 1,000 days, bro. That's absolutely amazing. It's almost like we're the thing that runs NXT, bro. I know, bro. I totally feel that. Roderick Strong, what do you think? Oh, I'm supposed to do something? Oh, right. Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong.
No, it was like,
Roderick Strong.
You know who would be perfect to go up against him? Roderick Strong. Yeah, and he, bro, what? Oh, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, bro, I'm up for it. Yeah. Oh, my God.
You know who should totally face Dexter Lumis? Yeah. Who? Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong, that's me. That is you. You're supposed to face Dexter Lumis. Oh, right, bro. I totally got it now.
Whatever the...
All right.
This was so much fun. I could not stop smiling during this. And it was, take it on for what it is. If you just enjoy it for the content, it's nothing more than a goofy TikTok video that lasts 30 seconds. It's a good time. I enjoyed it.
All right. Roderick Strong's going to face Dexter Lumis. That's pretty much all. That was the end result of this. We also had Aaliyah losing to Kaden Carter when she was trying to impress Robert Stone and become part of the Robert Stone brand. He was not impressed because she lost. But I'm curious what the end game is here, if they are ultimately going to have Aaliyah go on I really want to be in the Robert Stone brand arc and then end up in the Robert Stone brand, and then what that means, if she's going to be teaming up with Chelsea Green. Okay.
Listen, I give Aaliyah a lot of shit. I liked this match.
I did too. I think she's got a lot of upside.
I thought there was there's a missed opportunity with Aaliyah though, where I wanted to see her go more after Xia Li, because whatever happened with the whole broken nose thing.
That happened last week, and it was kind of quick and done.
Exactly, and that was so we're just switching gears again. All right, well now she cares about Chelsea Green and Robert Stone because reasons that we don't know and haven't really been told to us. Okay. So
well, obviously, I mean, again, stuff we don't know. For some reason, they don't think it's worth a program with Xia Li, and they think Aaliyah is worth investing in, and they're going to give her something to do. Yeah. So, to me, that says that they're going to try something with Aaliyah because they see something in her that we may not see because we're not there 24/7 in the PC and seeing all the nuances. We just have to interpret what their actions are and then try to speculate. That's pretty much, Nick. That's pretty much what we do.
Just keep her Tegan away Knox from Vanessa Bourne because Aaliyah's good.
I liked Bad and Bougie. I thought that was a fun little thing for a while there. No? All right. To each their own. Tegan Knox to beat Indy Hartwell. So we're keeping Knox hot for something. I don't know if we're going to continue with the Dakota Kai.
Well, she keeps cutting video packages, so maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Something's going on there. You had Rhea cutting a video package on Charlotte and Io, where she basically, great one, by the way, too, very intense, where she said, that belt is mine, Charlotte, and if I have to go through Io Shirai to get it, then so be it. But I'm coming back for my baby. So cool. We're already back on track to have an end game for Charlotte. Mwah, love it. The only question is, Nick, I have Io Shirai. Is she the new Bianca Belair? And my big complaint about Bianca was she was always the bridesmaid, never the bride in NXT. And it really, I thought, did not look good for NXT to have the champions that they had and not ever pull the trigger on Bianca Belair.
Hasn't that kind of always been the case? We've had Asuka for a couple of years. Nobody could ever get there. We've had Shayna for a couple of years since. Nobody could ever get there. We had Rhea was the next one that kind of came in and superseded everybody else. And I thought we were going to be with Rhea for a long time. It looks like we still might. But again, is anybody going to take out the Queen?
No, now you're getting American Rhea, or you're not having Australian Charlotte.
Right.
Is basically the problem. So, yeah, now it's a matter of how long before Rhea gets it back and then how long Rhea holds it. But that's what I'm asking is, does that give Io Shirai the short shrift?
Yeah. A little bit.
Should Io sneak in at some point and have a reign as champ so that we have some sort of diversity at the top and we have a little bit of titles changing hands as opposed to the NXT Women's Championship always being seemingly like always on the same person or the same people.
In the shittiest way I can imagine, if I put my Vince suit on, he's going to say, I've already got an Asuka. Why do I need another one?
Okay, but
do you know what I mean?
You already have a Charlotte. Why do we make the joke about you've got Southern Charlotte and midget Charlotte and Australian Charlotte and all the rest? That's the joke we make is you've already got a Charlotte. So it's the same thing with you already got an Asuka. Yeah, break.
I understand, but I feel like that's probably the reaction is that it's the spectacle, it's the I don't know what I'm saying anymore, honestly.
Kyle, okay, let me jump over to Super Chat. Kyle with $9.99. Thank you very much, sir. The question he has is, has Ripley's aura been damaged? Because everything that he's seen on social is people pushing back because she tapped after being this big-time babyface. Asuka tapped to Charlotte. Everyone taps to Charlotte. I don't think if that's the perception, then they do have to do some rehab on that. But people tap to Charlotte all the damn time. Everyone taps to Charlotte because it's Charlotte. But that also gives Rhea a redemption arc. It gives her a babyface arc to go on, to come back and beat Charlotte. And then we're rooting for her because last time she failed. And if they do it right, the hope is that we're now going to get behind her because in a moment of weakness, she was not who she could be. And if she overcomes this monster, if she slays this dragon, we're all going to root for her. We're all going to cheer for her. That's the theory. So no, I don't think that it shouldn't damage her aura. And if people are arguing that it does, then they're not paying attention, in my opinion.
My hope is that we end up with, because Charlotte broke the kendo stick out because she didn't feel like she could get past Io, do we get some kind of stipulation match now at the new pay-per-view coming up here in a couple of weeks that's been announced? That is going to be some kind of no DQ that allows certain things. Are we going to give Io an opportunity to get one over on Charlotte where she does pick up the title, and then Io and all of this setup that's going on with Io and Rhea is going to pay off beyond Charlotte?
I hope we don't go to a no DQ match or something of that sort because we're already getting that in AEW. Nyla hit Sheeta on the head with the kendo stick, and now their match is no DQ, weapons allowed. So if they do the same thing in WWE, it's going to seem redundant.
I mean,
so hopefully they find another something.
Maybe not to everybody. I didn't even put that together. So I mean, I don't think they're 1-1. I don't feel like they're trying to copycat each other in any way.
I think they would take criticism if they had the same kind of match on both shows. Fairly often. We had another little promo from Killer Cross and Scarlett. Pretty simple, straightforward, showing highlights of them showing up and, establishing that they're not there to play nice. They're there to, kill people, essentially. Good. So straightforward. To the tunes of Alter Bridge. They paid money. They licensed some music. Look at that. So real quick before we get out of NXT, they did announce also you had DX backstage. You had Hunter and Shawn Michaels had a bandana on his face, which he kept lifting up to talk, which was all right. And then Road Dogg was hiding under the console and popped up from behind for some reason. But they were saying, hey, guys, we want to do something special for NXT. So we're going to bring back an old pay-per-view. We're all sitting in our houses, so why not do In Your House? Because that was such a good series of pay-per-views back in the early mid-90s.
Right.
I think there was like only one, maybe two good In Your Houses. The first In Your House, the title, as I recall, was Diesel versus Sid, the title match.
I don't remember.
Which is the lowest grossing time for title matches in WWE history, as if I recall correctly. So what do you think about the return of In Your House? Is it a cute, fun little gimmick, or is it just kind of a dumb
Why
idea?
don't you just call it TakeOver Performance Center? Or TakeOver Orlando?
Are they trying to be like lighter about the entertainment? Like, haha, aren't we having fun? Do you think it's like they're trying to be more breezy because everything's kind of serious right now? They're trying to not be as serious?
I don't know how to judge this yet.
You think that's a feeling?
Because I'm a mark for DX. You guys know that. I know your disdain for it. But it's getting to a point where it's a little, all right, it's been 30 years. It's been 20 years. Like
it was kind of dad jokey.
It's very dad jokey. Yes. And there's a select group of individuals, I don't know, namely their demographic, that likes this kind of stuff or is lapsed fans of the Attitude Era that would appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? They're hitting those 40s and 50 and up numbers every week. So maybe they're looking at that demo stat and just going, all right, well, let's steer into that. Let's go find them all. Let's revive pay-per-views from 1995, and I don't know.
I don't know what
to make of it yet.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm of two minds of this as well. I can't say for certain my opinion, because on the one hand, I'm sitting there going, yeah, dude, In Your House. Oh my God, that takes me back. And on the other hand, I'm just kind of like, it's kind of dumb. You guys got to be forging new territory, trying new things. You know what I mean? Like they brought back War Games and they updated it and they gave it a gnarly new veneer. And it felt kind of like Mad Max Fury Road versus Road Warrior. But yeah, In Your House is more. That's not exactly War Games. No. You know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to update Kid and Play and House Party?
House Party 2.
Yeah, but for like the modern era.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Post Malone as Kid and Play. I don't know. So I'm of two minds. Yeah. They might just call it In Your House and we just have matches. I think that's what they're probably going to do with it. But yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll see. Cool. All right. You're in your house. Get it? Get it? So Nick, enough winking, enough NXT. Let's talk about the main show as it supposedly is. And I know that you've been looking forward to this all day because there is one man who was the main part of this. Let's head over and talk about Friday Night Smackdown. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just want to take a moment and go back, for those of you that have been along for the ride for a long time, when Heavy Machinery debuted in NXT, I went, yep. Now he's Mr. Money in the Bank, and he's having matches with the Universal Champion.
Yeah.
Otis opened.
And he's the center of the show, Nick. Not just that. Not just having match. He's because, Dolph Ziggler's having matches with champs and stuff, but you would never say Dolph Ziggler's the center of the show. Otis was the centerpiece of SmackDown this week. The show opened with a Miz TV segment dedicated to him. He had a through-line storyline that went through the entire show, and the show ended with him in a match, winning a match and standing tall with the Universal Champion and his girl. My God. So let's run this down. Otis comes out at the top of the show. Miz TV. Otis comes out at the top of the show. And Miz and Morrison interview him about becoming Money in the Bank champion. Of course, they also talk smack, and it's like water off of a duck. Nothing they say to Otis, calling him fat, showing childhood pictures of him and dissing his mom and dissing him, and it just rolls off his back. The only time he kind of gets a little salty is when he goes, I get the sense we might have a problem. Yeah. But like goes right back to just having fun with everything, juking and jiving. And I want to run through this, Nick, because I think you and I both have a lot to say about Otis right now. By the end of the segment, Miz and Morrison challenge him to a tag match. Tucker's not there. He's home with dysentery from Oregon Trail, whatever that means. So Otis has the entire show to find a partner. Sheamus tells him no. Can't find a partner. Goes to and Mandy says, Braun Strowman's around. You could ask him. And Otis goes, that's a great idea. Thank you, my little peach. Goes and finds Braun Strowman. Braun says, I know why you want to ask me, because you want to get me in the ring so you can come at me with that briefcase. And Otis goes, no, man, actually, I genuinely want you to help me with this. And Braun says, I'll think about it. So sure enough, we get to the main event. Otis is out there alone. Looks like Braun isn't coming, but then Braun! And Braun comes out to help him, as you would expect. Miz and Morrison get their asses kicked. And Braun and Otis stand tall to end the show. Out comes Mandy to smooch Otis. Otis fakes like he's going to go for Braun and then is like, I'm just kidding, dude. And they both stand tall. Happy moments. Hooray all around. Unless you're Tucker and when you're sitting at home crying and eating, pork rinds. What do you think about the presentation of Otis here? Not only how they showed him, but how he handled himself. What do you think about that?
Brilliant. Played into his character. The part that, by the way, before I get into this, shout out to Esme with the $5 super chat says, are you ready?
Oh, no. No. Esme.
Are you ready for a good time? Thank you, Esme.
Man. It's going to be stuck in my head the rest of the day.
There's a lot to say here. First of all, opening the show, Miz TV with Miz and Morrison, former Smackdown tag champions, and Otis is coming out with the briefcase. Immediately, my mind goes to, how is Otis going to cash this in with Tucky for the tag team championships in the future? And I kind of went, okay, there might be something there. Comes out and we get the old Bailey, this is your life of Otis attempt, but Otis steers into it properly and goes, yeah, look at them quads, look at the biceps, and just doing Otis. They make fun of his penis size. They make fun of him having meat in the suitcase. It just, like you said, brushes it off. And I just thought this was absolutely brilliant. Really, really well done. Loved all of this. Ultimately, with Braun coming out, we got Braun doing the caterpillar, and that gives me pause, and I'll talk about that in just a minute.
I don't know what that was. That was not. That
was him coming out and dancing with the New Day. That was him coming out, like all the stuff. Sure. Goes, stop it.
Yeah, we get to Braun in a second, because Braun also.
I'm going to take Braun and put him over here for just a minute, because I'm talking about Otis right now.
And Miz and Morrison, all of these segments, everyone looked good, but we'll stick to Otis for right now. We'll get on the line.
This is Vince's fabled brass ring, and Otis is absolutely grabbing it and taking it home for all it's worth. And that's really what I wanted to say there.
No, you took the words out of my mouth, Nick. The brass ring. So ever since Vince said that on the Stone Cold show, people have been throwing that back at him right and left, whether it's wrestlers or fans or media or whoever. That line has just been picked on. And I think it's because, and in part, I do understand why, and I think that it is something that in his mind is this, it seems arbitrary. But at the same time, it's one of those things where when you see it, you see it. And here's a situation where Otis, as a talent, was given opportunities on this show. You're going to go out there with Miz and Morrison, and you need to project a certain thing through the camera.
Right.
You need to be likable. You need to be someone that the audience is going to root for. That's your job. And that's a really, really kind of ephemeral, hard to describe. What we were just talking about with Damian Priest. That's a really difficult thing to tell someone what to do. Go out there, be likable. Go out there and make us root for you. Back when I used to do auditions, I had a casting director give me a note. Be more charismatic. For like a scene note. Can you do it again, but can you be more charismatic? The hell does that mean? Right? That's Vince's brass ring. If you can go out there and make people care, that's the brass ring. That's grabbing it. That's when you get TV time, people want to watch. That's the brass ring. That's it. But that's such a difficult thing to describe, the nuances of how you do it. Otis did it here. He did it. He went out there, and he mugged a lot, which is his gimmick. But he mugged when it was appropriate. He got, he threw it away and became serious, or he became normal, I guess is the wrong word, but he dropped it at the right times. He let you see that there's a real guy under here, right? A very fun, very entertaining guy, but also a real guy. And some people were questioning, putting up Otis's kid pictures and everything. And they're like, oh, it's too much. It's over the top. They only showed, I think, 2 or 3 of them. And the way he reacted to each one humanized him so well. I thought it actually was effective. Yep. And not only that, but then him going around and asking people to be his tag partner during the show was effective. Where Otis at times can just be so over the top. His ability to bring it down and be a realistic person while still being really kind of a heightened weirdo, which is his gimmick, he found that sweet spot where people he reacts to people in certain ways that keep that gimmick believable, but at the same time make him relatable. And he did it throughout the entire show, front to back, every time he was given the chance to. And this is a crazy thing to say, Nick, but his and Mandy's relationship even is believable. I truly believe that they care for each other. I believe Mandy cares for him.
Because they've taken time to invest in the story, and they've told us this whole thing going all the way back to December.
But I don't obviously believe that they're actually in a real relationship, but Mandy reacts to him the way you would someone you genuinely care about. Right? I believe in real life, Mandy believes he's a good dude. In real life, I believe she thinks he's a good guy. And that goes a long way. The way he interacts with her is so sweet, and it's genuine. And all of that comes together to me. This was the week where I went from being Otis is awesome to that guy has a crap ton of potential.
Well, that's a perfect segue. Rob Hutchins with $25 in the super chat.
Damn.
Thank you very much. Rob says, how high can they take Otis? IC belt? I wouldn't hate that. What do you think Otis's ceiling is?
He's got a briefcase for the Universal Championship right now,
and a bratwurst.
They were running all the things he had in there. He had Rolaids, he had Gas X, and he had a bratwurst in the briefcase. Oh my God. This is the thing, is he's got a briefcase. How long does he hold on to that? I mean, I'm going to say right now, it would not surprise me to have Otis win the Universal Championship at some point. Maybe not hold it for long. Maybe be like an interim champion or something, not an interim, but like a transitional champ or something like that. I don't think he's going to be the face of the company. It wouldn't surprise me if they gave him a title shot.
I'm gonna steer into what I said after Money in the Bank as a joke sort of comment on our recap show, and say that watch out, Otis is going to, because he's such a good guy, and he's going to end up using it to give Mandy an opportunity at the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Oh, dude, I think that would be such a cool.
I don't know if that would be the ultimate. Like the good guy story that they're telling, the jock that never could get the girl finally got the girl, and now because she trusted him and fell in love with him against all odds, he's going to pay it forward or pay it back by using his contract that he happenstancely got on accident. He can use it as an opportunity to give his lovely peach an opportunity. Wow! Oh, it would be so good.
That would. I agree. That would be good. I don't know how a lot of people would be screaming about the rules, but
come on,
whatever.
They just put the title belt in the women's Money in the Bank contract for Asuka.
Right,
come on. The rules are out the window at this point.
It's their world. They can do whatever they want. Also, Kyle with $4.99. Thank you, sir. He said Otis really showed why he gets the Chris Farley comparison. Not only the over the top stuff, but also the quieter moments that make you cheer for him. Well said.
Bringo.
Very well said. I mean, I would even throw, he's got a little more John Candy, even at some points. I love how we're talking about big guy comedians.
It was where I would go.
Yeah, just only he's addicted to ham instead of cocaine.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, it's I was over the moon with the presentation of Otis this week, and again that was just him. And then everyone around him seemed to do well too. Miz and Morrison were doing really good shtick. Mandy, as I said, looked really good, and Braun Strowman is looking like a thinking champion. You know, Miz and Morrison were joking about how he's dumb, but you know, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Braun Strowman be presented as a guy who thinks, right? He thinks one step ahead.
We're not there yet, to be fair. He's getting there.
He outsmarted Bray, and he just said, like, as soon as Otis asked him, he's like, "Look, dude, I know what you're trying to do. Let me contemplate if I trust you enough to do this, and if I feel like I can outthink you in the situation." That doesn't feel like a big dumb monster. That feels like a thinking champ. So I was happy with how Braun was presented. And as you said, Nick, like he even at one point was like, he's getting into the Otis fun and tried to do a caterpillar. And it was, of course, the worst caterpillar you've ever seen. But it was funny. It was fun. This whole thing was fun. It was very entertaining. And I was very happy with that stuff on SmackDown.
I was also very happy, no Bray, no Fiend.
No Bray, no Fiend.
That let me know that.
But no Tucker on the other hand. So.
Well, that aside, that also let me know that they're taking Braun's championship run seriously here, and I'm very happy about that. It's not going to be something that's just going to last for 2 weeks. He's looking better and better with it every week, like you say, looking smarter, but coming out and doing things the right way. Now, do we get a full-on bearded blue-collar Money in the Bank cash-in here where Otis does get the championship and just gets annihilated by the Fiend at some pay-per-view in the near future? I wouldn't write that off. That's totally
kind of what
possible.
I'm saying. Like, I'm thinking about how does Otis cash in when now the two big guys that are circling the title are Braun and Bray. How do you have Otis cash in that situation? Maybe that's the way is he sneaks one in on Braun and then pays for it. Bray gets him or something. I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past happening. Yeah. So we'll see. Let's talk about some other stuff on the show. We also have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is Sami Zayn, because he refuses to work due to feeling unsafe for health reasons, has been stripped of the IC title. Now, it's only been 2 months, and Lord knows Brock has been gone for longer than that at times, but he's not Sami Zayn, and those are planned, and this is Sami saying, I don't want to work. And, you know, WWE said that they're not going to retaliate against people, and yet here they are stripping the man of his Intercontinental Championship. So Sami is no longer the IC champion, and instead of doing what I thought would be the honorable thing and saying that we're going to crown an interim champ, kind of like Jordan Devlin, right, where they say, well, he can't come do this, so we're going to crown an interim champ, and then Jordan Devlin can come back and challenge later. They just stripped Sami. And they said that we're going to have a tournament, an Intercontinental Championship tournament instead. The brackets that we were shown was Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak and Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy on Block A, Nakamura versus AJ Styles, and Elias versus Baron Corbin in Block B. So let's really quickly run down the matches we had this week. We had Elias versus King Corbin, a match that everyone wanted to see. Mm-hmm. And they gave quite a bit of time to. But we also, as a palate cleanser, had Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. So, Nick, let's talk about these matches, and then let's talk about the outcomes and our predictions for the Intercontinental picture here, because Elias versus King Corbin, I'm not going to lie, when they started this match, I wanted to kill myself. By the end, I feel like they put on actually a pretty good match. Like WWE style, not really invested in either of these guys, but damn it, they went out there and did pretty good work.
Yeah, it was fine. I was fine. Pleasantly surprised to see Baron Corbin not just get handed another thing. Another victory, another pass.
And that was, yeah.
Right? And I feel like they've been coming around on Elias the last 6 months since he flipped back over to being face. And this whole angst with and the feud that he's built with Baron Corbin, while it's questionable and we've had our critiques, it's still there. The feud, the heat is still there for it, I think. And yeah, they had another kind of a decent match here.
Do you feel like that they... Was this the blow off? Finally, are we blown off with this? Are we done?
I don't think so.
Oh God, I feel like this should have been the blow off. Although I did,
it's a first round of a tournament. There's no.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Real quick, I got to call out. Esme sent $5 in, said Ducky should have got the girl. And I thought she was referring to Tucky and had a typo, but apparently she was referring to Pretty in Pink Ducky. I got you. Thank you, Esme.
John Hughes. Thank you, Esme. The funny thing about this, the thing that cracked me up about this was Elias won the match because he snapped when Baron Corbin smashed his guitar on the ring post. For a guy who smashes guitars over people a lot, that's a funny reaction to have. Just going to throw that out there. But at the end of the day, Elias goes through. Corbin does not. Elias will face the winner of Nakamura and AJ, which is happening next week. We had Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. A match with no strikes, Nick. No strikes whatsoever.
This was, I feel like, a dream match for a lot of people, myself included. I think we've all wanted to see this match. We got about 70 to 75% of, I would love to see these two have a 60-minute Iron Man match. Just Jesus Christ.
It was beautiful.
This is kind of like last week I was saying I want to see Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy have a match for 60 minutes. I want to see these two guys have a match. Good God. Like, this should have been saved for a pay-per-view. I'm glad we didn't see it run for that long. It was mostly just a submission match, but I want to...
When this all started, when they started on a pay-per-view, it was great.
Yeah. So, I loved it. Every second of it.
Yep. It was... best match they've had on SmackDown in a long time.
I don't know if it's easily match of the week, but it's definitely up there. It's one of those where if you didn't see this match, go watch this match. This is one of those matches. If you like technical mat wrestling,
it was beautiful.
Doesn't get much better.
And as you would assume, Daniel Bryan did win. Made Gulak look great in the process, but Daniel Bryan goes on to face the winner of Sheamus and Matt Hardy. Interesting, they're starting that feud off in this as well. I can only imagine we're going to end up just looking at this with AJ versus Daniel Bryan. And it's weird because AJ's Raw. So I have to assume Daniel Bryan wins that. But, yeah, it's strange. What do you think the IC picture is here? Because Daniel Bryan made a very passionate speech about it. He said, he won it back in the day and never lost it. He won it WrestleMania 31 ladder match and then had to give it up. And then when he gave it up, he wasn't allowed to wrestle again until recently. So do you think
in a very wrestling kind of way, I want Daniel Bryan to get it back so that ultimately we can end up going back to the Miz Daniel Bryan feud to put it back on the Miz so he can get his numbers long term, right? Like not tomorrow, but long term.
Nick, I give you crap for Nick booking, but I'll take that one. That's absolutely. I would also like Miz to get the record. But yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm also not mad with AJ versus Bryan in the finals if that's what it is. Like, I'll take. Yeah,
I'm not mad at another round of AJ and Nakamura as long as it's not dick punches.
Oh God, if they bring a dick punch into this, Nick, I'm flipping a desk. I'm flipping a desk. Oh, your girl Dana Brooke got a win. Beat Naomi in like a 3-minute match. It was like 5 minutes, but still. What are the plans for Dana? She just won 2 over Naomi. What?
Probably a intermediary contender for Bayley to, because I guess she's kind of the number 1 contender now, right? For Bayley?
Are they punishing Naomi for something? Are they mad at Naomi for what's going on with the Usos?
I don't know.
Like, what's up?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Why bring her back in with a whole new look if you're not going to give her a little bit of a push and you're just going to feed her to a Dana Brooke or a Carmella, right?
That's weird. Frogs falling from the sky, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. I'm not sure what's going on here. Charlotte came back to SmackDown because people want more Charlotte. The numbers have been run, the metrics have been crunched, and people want more Charlotte. She gave a spicy promo. She's they're going to have, so basically they announced this week that they're going to have brand invitationals where you can request someone from the other brand, and it's only going to happen 4 times a year. Okay,
Wild Card
sure.
2.0, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah, we believe that. But she said, "That's right. I'm great. People love me. My last name is Flair. Eat it." Basically, just triggering all the haters in about 30 seconds.
I like this.
Of this
I think
promo.
that's what she should have done the whole time. Steer into it.
Damn good promo. Steer into it. She's steering into it. That was good. And then out came Bayley and Sasha to say, ho, look, 3 of the 4 horsewomen are here, and the 4th is off being a horse mommy. So here we are in the ring together, ladies. Remember the history? Bayley's like, yeah, that's right, Charlotte. You know why I'm champ? Because I'll beat you. Funny. Welcome back to SmackDown. Some smack was talked. Charlotte asked Sasha why she was hanging out with a loser like Bayley, when she was such a big deal before. And Sasha got a little pensive for a second, and Bayley tried to interrupt, and Charlotte said, no, you hush up for a second. A little sniping, and we ended up in a champion versus champion match next week, Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. Nick, I know we're running behind, but real quick here, what did you think about Bayley's promoing here? Because I thought Bayley did the best mic work she's done in a long time.
You guys know how I feel. I when Bayley and Sasha first came out, I rolled. I didn't see this coming. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I had mostly forgotten about, or that wasn't top of mind, about the history that Charlotte and Sasha have and all the firsts that they have. And Charlotte did a very good job of reminding us of all of those things. And I thought the way that she delivered that was really nice. And I went, oh, yeah, I forgot about, oh, yeah, oh, I see what they're doing here. That was so initially I rolled, great, 4 horsewomen of NXT. Okay. And then I went, oh no, this is genius. This is brilliant. This is the way to pit Sasha against Bayley.
Charlotte is the lighter that sets the fire between the two of them.
She's turning the knob, and I love it. I love it. By the end of this, I was just like, yes. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm in.
I got to give props to Bayley. She was finally acting like the heel I wanted her to be. She kind of rolled over for Sasha for Charlotte at the one point, which I didn't like, but the attitude and the snark and she felt like just a dick heel here. And so on the mic, at least, I thought Bayley finally, I was like, there it is. That's what I want to see from Bayley.
Kyle calling me out in the chat.
Props to her.
I was about to go off on this. I was like, oh, great. You could have had Lacey come out and do something, but no, you're going to bring Bayley. You're going to have heel versus heel kind of thing going on in the ring. And it didn't make sense. Where's Facey Evans right now? And then it all made sense at once Charlotte started explaining things, and I went, oh, yes, okay, I'm in.
The history's there. The history's there. So, and yes, Killer B-Rye, Brian in the chat, she can be a dick heel in a suit. Yeah, put a suit on Bayley. It's better than what she was wearing this week. A couple more quick things. Sonya and Dolph versus Otis and Mandy next week. And Sonya had a promo that she just knocked out of the goddamn park again. I don't know if they're going into like a she's kind of crazy angle, or she's just super intense, or somewhere between the two. But my God, that woman can promo.
I'm so happy she's getting an opportunity here, because she's finally getting a chance to show just, in 30 seconds, showing you the equivalent of a weigh-in promo. What you would do.
I need a prop, Nick. I need to have like a prop over here, because I can just grab a brass ring and hold it up every someone grabs a brass ring, because she grabbed the brass ring this week. A lot of brass ring grabbing this week. Yep. Bayley, Sonya, Otis, Braun, everyone grabbing them rings.
Yep.
Lots of ring grabbing.
Yep.
Forgotten Sons, speaking of ring grabbing, they cut a promo. They had it wasn't much of a promo. It was basically Jackson Riker saying, we went to serve our country. We came back. Everyone hated us. So now we're going to punch you. That's basically the promo. But what was interesting is it started off saying the views of the Forgotten Sons are not necessarily those of the WWE. Disclaimer. An interesting little gimmick there. So I'm curious what they're going to be doing with the Forgotten Sons. Where are they going to go for, like,
philanthropy is what they're doing with
Michigan militia kind of thing, where they're patriots, but they're counter patriots. Like
they are. So outside of the TV show, they have the Forgotten Sons on a tour of Zoom calls, and they've been touting this with vets. They've been basically doing the typical military tour that they do, where they go to base, and when they're in certain cities and things like that, specifically here in the Carolinas, lots of bases here. But they are on Twitter and Instagram. They're heavily promoting all 3 of the Forgotten Sons, ex-Marines. Well, you're never an ex-Marine. Former Marines.
Blake Cutler wasn't a Marine, was he?
Jackson and Wesley were. Yep.
Wait, Wesley?
Wesley Blake.
Wesley Blake. Oh, Blake. I'm sorry. Cutler was a Marine. Blake was not. That's what it was.
Cutler, I'm not sure which one of the two, but Jackson was.
I know Cutler was.
Okay.
Sorry, I misspoke. Blake, I don't think was.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
the point is they're doing philanthropy. So now to tie that in with the TV show, they have them come on and put on this face of our country has forgotten us. It's born in the 4th of July in wrestling, right? It's the country's forgotten about us.
Doesn't that seem kind of like Jinder Mahal being a heel on TV and then a face when he goes to India?
Kind of.
It seems like if you were going to get these veterans to watch your show, they're going to watch the show and be like, those guys that I liked so much are being disrespectful now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But why did they need a disclaimer just to say that we're vets?
That was the thing. The disclaimer, I thought, like, we're setting up for future installments where they might get a little bit more edgy. It seemed.
Yeah, Xander saying Cutler was his original gimmick in NXT.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking up now. Blake was not. He wanted to be a wrestler from the beginning. He was a Dory Funk Jr. Wrestler. So yeah. So at any rate, the bottom line is interesting. We also had an interesting promo. Looking forward to seeing where they're going with it. Becky Lynch also had a little send-off video package, which I'm not gonna lie, got a little misty. They got me a little bit with it. Another good one by them.
They can nail their packages. That's for sure.
Hashtag
phrasing.
Hello. I will say this though: if that's how Becky's remembered, she's gonna when she does come back to wrestling, she's gonna be freaking. Oh my God, it's gonna be a huge deal.
That first time you hear that music hit, it's just it's gonna be complete silence. See what I did there?
What?
Because there's still gonna be no fans.
Oh, shut up. That's not even. Come on, Nick. That's not. You're fired. All right, that does it for SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. And Nick, I think that means we need to go over and do a little section that we dedicate to our listener Sean Clark, who came up with the idea.
Yes.
It is known as the moment of positivity.
Mop, mop, mop,
Mop, mop, mop, mop, mop, mop, mop, mop, mop. The mop, the moment of positivity, the moment where we talk about the thing that happened this week in wrestling that made us happy, that made us smile, that made us feel those little warm things in our tummies. What was your moment of positivity for this week, Nick?
So many things to choose from. This was a fantastic week of wrestling. It's one of the first times in a long time where all three shows I felt like, knocked it out of the park. Really, really good shows across the board. If I had to pick one thing, one very specific thing, it was John Morrison going in on Otis on what he had in his briefcase or how he got the girl. And Otis just kind of staring into it a little bit. Yeah, I got some Rolaids and some Gas X and a bratwurst in case I get hungry later. That made me laugh. That made me laugh so hard. That's my happy moment.
You're a child.
I am a 12-year-old wrapped in a grown man's body. But at the same time, Otis, I think my moment of positivity is Otis really landing the plane this week, maybe for the first time ever since I saw him and Tucky debut as Heavy Machinery in NXT. Like this was. I
think he's buzzed the tower a few times.
They've been building and building and building and building and building and building, and getting Money in the Bank, and then coming back and the Fallout show right after Money in the Bank coming out with this, and you've got Miz and John Morrison there just putting you over AF to open SmackDown. And he nailed it. And then carried the entire show.
So I knew you were going to do Otis. Because everything about Otis was definitely a moment of positivity for me as well. Like, just everything was just so like, yo, dude, nailed it. For me, it's going to be the amount of just really nice technical wrestling matches this week. Thatcher versus Riddle, Bryan versus Gulak, and I'll even throw the tag match from AEW in there, which was, I thought, really well worked too. There's a lot of good stuff on AEW wrestling wise. That's not a surprise, but yeah, it was just a good week. It was a good week for entertainment. I thought all the shows were solid as hell this week. So that in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The shows themselves, for the first time and as long as I can remember, all being great.
Raw what we were talking about Raw earlier this week, entertaining from front to back. They filled 3 hours. I think there's one thing we said on our Raw show is they filled 3 hours. I didn't feel the time this week. SmackDown, solid from front to back.
Yep.
You know, even segments normally I don't like. I was like, well, pretty good. Even Elias and Corbin at the end, I was like, that was a pretty good match. So maybe that's my moment of positivity. Shit was pretty good overall this week, man.
Add
good
some
stuff.
fans, WWE, and holy smokes, you guys are going to be okay. But you got to get rid of the deafening silence, because it is deafening when it is silent. It is overwhelming how quiet it is in there. I need some kind of noise. Find 10 people and place them around the Performance Center, way spread out. You've got the personnel there. It can be other wrestlers. We don't really care. Look at what AEW did. Faces and heels on opposite sides. It works. You need some noise.
Hashtag wrestling.
Yep. Because
hashtag crowds. Yeah, it's again a presentation on AEW. Marked difference.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you very much, Siri and Dangerous, and thank you guys very much. But we're not done just yet. We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, kind of slim right now, but that's okay. We got a couple things to talk about. For one thing, the ratings. AEW, 654,000 with a .23, and NXT with 604,000 and .15. Both down this week. Both down, but AEW still pulling out a narrow victory. So,
dwindling, much like
dwindling,
Raw.
though. Dwindling. Although Raw and SmackDown were up this week.
Up from 1.8?
They were up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. I'd be worried about Wednesdays, though.
Yeah.
Oliver Luck, who was the commissioner for the XFL, was fired and is now suing Vince McMahon for $23.8 million. WWE released why they fired him. They fired him for, quote, gross neglect, saying that he did not do his job, and he basically ditched out as soon as the COVID thing started happening. Personal use of a league-assisted cell phone was one of the things that they didn't like. Basically, what it looks like is that that he left the Connecticut headquarters of the XFL for his home in Indiana and, quote, disengaged from the league's operations right as all of this stuff was starting to happen. Even though the XFL by that point was already kind of like, instead of sticking around and making sure that they would do what was needed to be done during this, he took off and went home to Indiana. The suit reads, and I'm quoting Juan on this, put simply, at the very moment when his leadership as CEO was needed most, Luck did not devote substantially all of his business time to the XFL, as was required by his contract. I'm quoting Wrestling Observer. In a response to his lawyer, Luck said that he communicated with McMahon via text during that aforementioned period of time, which he said was McMahon's preferred method, that and there was a receiver that he hired that McMahon told him not to hire, and that was Antonio Callaway. And then McMahon knew about it, and all this. So basically, what's he said, she said. McMahon says Luck didn't do these things. Luck said I did. This is going to happen in court, ladies and gentlemen.
None of which is going to stand up in court unless there's proof of them saying it.
Exactly. So I don't.
They're
at
going to
this point,
settle.
I don't see Luck. They're going to settle. Luck ain't getting $23.8 million.
Much ado about nothing. He might get 5.
He might get 5. Speaking of getting money, it has gotten out there that looks like Taker signed a 15-year contract in 2019. We're waiting for absolute confirmation of this, but 15 years. I would have to assume that that's some sort of modified Legends contract, like a Taker-only contract, where I don't think he's going to be wrestling for 15 years, but WWE is going to have him in their house for 15 years.
Yep. I'm guessing that the Undertaker Part 2 series went out to press and somebody leaked it. I'm thinking it's going to be said on tomorrow, on the Part 2 of the Undertaker thing.
Maybe at the end.
Yeah.
You know, it's a series called Last Ride, and he just signed for 15 years.
It's a retirement contract.
So,
they do that in the NFL too for retires.
Exactly. Yeah. Where I don't think he's going to be wrestling for 15 years, but he'll be around in WWE. He's a WWE man through and through. So, speaking of contracts, Rey Mysterio's contract is coming due, if it hasn't already expired. I don't think it has expired. I think it's in the next couple of weeks, but he hasn't signed a new contract. And rumors are out there that he is being courted by AEW, New Japan. Even though it's a time right now when nobody really wants to spend money, the problem with that is neither does WWE really. They're not out here trying to put 7-figure contracts out to people in a time when they're not making any of this house money or extra revenue. So, and gate money. So Ray's in a bad spot. This is like the worst time your contract could come up because you don't really have a whole lot to negotiate with. You're not going to go get a bigger contract somewhere else either because they're all hurting as well. So bad timing, and it might be that Ray takes a crap contract and sticks around just so that Dominic isn't on WWE's bad side because he is worried about Dominic's future and wants to make sure that Dominic gets a good gig somewhere. Yep. So we will see what Ray decides to do. Obviously, that's what the eyeball spot was last Monday night. They could have had him just killed off by going off the roof, but no, they had to do the eyeball spot. So that might write him off a la Matt Hardy, or that'll just be it for Ray. Or he'll come back, and we'll just see. It depends on his contract. Wrestling Observer also reports that Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch for the title was supposed to be what happened at Money in the Bank, and that Shayna Baszler was supposed to win Money in the Bank originally. But all that changed when Becky announced she was pregnant.
Interesting.
So Nia was supposed to face Becky and then lose to her, and Shayna was supposed to win the briefcase and then be Becky's next major foil. And ultimately take the title off her, but obviously plans change. Tasha Steelz, formerly with Ring of Honor, has signed with Impact. I think that's a good pickup. But you also might have seen her in NWA at some point. Yeah. It's a good pickup for Impact. So Impact's still out there making moves in the middle of all this. Also moves in the opposite direction. Rachel Evers, a.k.a. Rachel Ellering, was fired from the WWE, and it might be because she complained about the medical staff. She said that she was not a fan of the treatment she was getting when she was doing her knee rehab, and apparently stirred the pot the wrong way. That's one of the reasons why she was fired. And then finally, Nick, 16 years ago today, one of the bloodiest matches in WWE history, Eddie Guerrero versus JBL at Judgment Day. That was 16 years ago when Eddie went to blade himself in the forehead and cut a little bit too deep and started literally spurting blood until the ring just turned a bright crimson. Somehow Eddie finished the match and then collapsed and had to get like 2 pints of blood. Oh. He lost. Something ridiculous. It's so gross. It's up there with Undertaker, Brock, Hell in a Cell from back in the day. It's just like,
good Lord,
just buckets of blood. It's still one that like I can take a lot of blood and that one turns my stomach. Yeah. It's insane. Anyway, 16 years ago today. So if you're curious and have a strong stomach, go check it out. But that is the news.
Well, thank you very much, Surrey and Dangerous. And thank you guys for joining us, especially a big shout out to everybody that joined us in chat. We love having you guys here live while we're doing the show. Shout out to Esme, Kyle, Rob. Did I miss anybody? No. Okay, thank you guys very much for your super chats today. Much appreciated. We love you guys for all of the support. If you guys would like to join us, we stream live here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and jingle your notifications there so you get notified when we do go live. Also, come join us over in Facebook. Just search for Busted Wide Open. You'll find us over there. BWO Podcast over on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also get some exclusive rewards over at patreon.com/BWO. All of these links in the description below here on YouTube, or you can find them across our various social media profiles. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.